Hi, everyone. I'm Kat Shear. I'm here with Anikha Greer. We're going to talk a little bit about her performance this weekend at Wadapalooza and get to know her a bit. How you doing, Anikha?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good, good. So you are 18 years old. And for anyone that's been living under a rock the last couple years, why don't you give us just a brief background on your competitive career leading up to this weekend?
Sweet. Okay. So I started when I was 14, missed the games by 1 point. 15, injured myself. 16, qualified for the games. That was the year of 2020. Came second to Emma Carey, who's a legend. And then the games got canceled, so I didn't actually get to compete. And then 2021 was I was 17, so my first year as an individual. Qualified for semifinals. Got put into the online semifinal Atlas Games. Just they threw all the Canadians in there. Came sixth by just a couple seconds, so just missed the games as an individual. And here we are.
So Wadapalooza then would be your first in-person elite competition ever.
Yes, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Had you been to Wadapalooza before as a teen, or was this your first time in Miami as well?
So 2 years ago, 2020, I went to Wadapalooza as a teenager. But what's funny is because that was right before the whole pandemic, I don't remember it all that clearly. There's some spotty patches. It's very vague, and it wasn't half as, it wasn't even on the same level as Wadapalooza as an elite.
Right. So I'm guessing you're going to remember this weekend for quite a while.
Yeah.
You did amazing and you hung in there with everybody else. So let's just talk about some highlights. Obviously, Celebrate 10, that overhead squat workout, you beat the field by almost 30 seconds.
Yeah, I loved that workout. It was, honestly, I feel like I got that workout was even more memorable because when I was super gutted. I hadn't really felt I actually remember I wrote something in my notes at 2 a.m. because I could not sleep. I was up all night, just turning, because I was I don't feel like myself. I don't feel like I'm competing like myself. Things keep going wrong. What is happening? This is not it just felt like this weekend was not going how I wanted it to go. So going into that event, I was just kind of down, I wasn't myself. I was just kind of who knows what's going to happen? Maybe I'll have a bet. I just sprained my ankle the night before. I was maybe I'll have a bad judge. I was just being super negative. And then one of my good friends who also crushed it, Freya, was kind of Anikha, you can't give up. And then I was kind of you're right. I am kind of talking I'm giving up. And then I was oh, that is not who I am. So then honestly, I have Freya in part to thank for kind of getting me out of that downward slope of doubt. So then, 3, 2, 1, go. And it was the second round in when I realized I'd already lapped most of the people and I wasn't really tired yet, that I was kind of oh my God, okay, you got this, hang in there. And then that's when I was kind of there, that was me. That felt like me. So yeah, that was an awesome event.
It must have been a real surreal moment for you too, crossing that finish line and knowing that you had done that.
Yeah, hugely.
So that's a high. Any sort of important lessons learned from the weekend? I know we say you either win or you learn. So you probably had a few learning experiences. What are some of your highlights in terms of what you've learned and what's on the whiteboard going forward?
Yeah, I honestly feel as a whole, Wadapalooza was the perfect combination of having everything that could have gone wrong go wrong, learning experiences, and then also getting to show what I can do. I couldn't have asked for anything more out of my first elite big girl comp. But yeah, so the first event, it was the heavy dub, the flip. I had no idea what to expect, so I chalked that one up as you did great with what you had prepared for that event. I'd never flipped anything before in my life. And just first event jitters. Heavy dubs are still not I work really hard on my double unders. We've talked about this before, my double under struggles. So I was really happy with how those have improved. There was definitely some smaller execution things I learned. I feel I could write a book. I feel I crammed 4 years of learning into the first 2 days. But execution wise, I'm so used to competing online, and I didn't realize how used to competing online, or how programmed to competing online I am, until like the second day, when I was like, oh man, like I don't know how to compete in person. So I'm used to having like for that Echo Fran workout. I love Fran. That's one of my favorite workouts. Echo bike, probably my least favorite machine. It's something I struggle with a lot, and we've been working really, really hard on the past couple months. Like we do so much Echo bike work, but because I've always been an online athlete, I've never had to Echo bike before. There's no Echo bike in the open. There's no Echo bike in online qualifiers. So I never trained Echo bike. I just didn't, because obviously we were training to qualify for the games, not for the games. So I just didn't Echo bike. So it's only been the past couple months that we've really started hammering down on the Echo bike. So for example, if that Fran workout came up in a qualifier, I'd have my Echo bike here, my bar here, and my thrusters here. So like I just kind of go in a little circle. At Wodapalooza, you had to run between transitions, and I walked them. Like I was like, I'm used to taking the transitions as a rest, not as part of the workout. So that was a big thing. It was like, if I had ran those transitions, I would have been like, I don't know, 5-6 places higher. So it was just small things like that, like just the speed at which everyone goes. It was a big adjustment for sure. Like the swim event, learning that like my row and my run on the swim event was so good. I was so happy. I was super fast and like felt
and you've
great.
been working on that, right?
Oh my God, so much. And like I was one of the first ones off the rower. I was like, heck yeah, like this is awesome. Like my run was really fast, but when I got to the water, there were so many people. I was like, okay, like I almost freaked out. I was like, I'm a good swimmer. We've worked really hard on my swimming, but I've never swam with that many people before. So I got stuck behind a crowd of people, and I just didn't know how to get out. I actually remember like consciously thinking while I'm swimming, like I'm swimming so slow, but I don't know what to do. Like I was like, I don't know how to get around these people. So there was just lots of little moments
swimming over somebody. There's not much you can do when you get into a pack like that. So
that's what I mean. I was like, I didn't know how to stop and like find a path. I was like kind of stuck here. So there's a lot of little things like that. Then dealing with inconsistent standards for the step overs. That was a big bummer, because I was really looking forward to that chipper, the Bayside chipper. I love chippers. Yeah, so the step overs, I've practiced those a lot leading into this event, just because it's not something a lot of people do. So I had practiced them so much, and obviously you're holding the kettlebells on your shoulders, and they told us that was fine in the first briefing. Like Danny Spiegel asked specifically, can we hold them like this? They said yes. And then right before the event, they tell us, no, you can't hold them like that. You have to hold them in front of your chest. And so then everybody's like, what the heck? And then most of us kind of collectively, we talked amongst ourselves. We were like, let's just do the first standard and like leave it up to the judges, because we were so confused. And unfortunately, what that meant is that some people got really lucky in a sense and were able to hold them on their backs. And some people like myself and my friend Paige Powers, who was right next to me, had to hold them like this. And so that was a big bump, because it took me so long to get through the step overs. Not the judge's fault. It was just nobody knew what the standard was. So everybody was getting something different. And anyway, so that caused me, I flipped over my box. I rolled my ankle, and like I sprained my ankle pretty bad. It's nice and bruised.
Did you notice a difference between like a soft box and a hard box? I know like typically when you do step overs, you can sort of pivot on your foot and come down. But I know on those soft boxes, it's really hard to do that. And I noticed on that one time when you fell, you were sort of forward facing.
Yeah. So basically I had to go forward facing just because of how I was holding the kettlebells. I could not figure out, because I always step sideways, as most people do, but I couldn't in the moment, like while adjusting to holding them like this, I like could not figure out how to step sideways without falling forwards. So I was like straight up, like leaning back like this, like kind of crawling over the box. And yeah, I think I got I watched the video, and I was like, I don't even remember falling. I just remember landing, hearing a pop in my ankle, and then like the kettlebells just going everywhere. But that Bayside chipper, like that was, the first half was a disaster. And then the second half, once I hit the rope climbs, old Anikha would have given up. Like she would have just shut down, been like, I was the last person on the rope climbs. So I would have been like, oh my God, you're already in last. Like, what's the point? But this Anikha, I didn't even think about it. I didn't chalk up. I think I did the second half of that workout almost faster than anyone. Like we went hard. So I think the girl next to me had 2 rope climbs done, and I came off the 6 rope climbs before. Like Brett told me after, he's like, that's the fastest I've ever seen you do rope climbs in your whole life. So I'm really proud of how I battled back in the second half, because same thing, I caught people on the rope climbs, caught people on the burpees, and then I caught people on the deadlifts. I did them all unbroken. So like I fought so hard in that second half, and I probably would have been almost dead last if I hadn't have. So yeah, I was really proud of that. But again, it was just like every workout there was like something to be proud of, and then something to learn from.
Sure. So you ended up 12th on the weekend, an amazing sort of rookie outing for you. What's happening now? I know you're in Miami for a couple more days. Last year, you were just out of a qualifying spot for the games. Are you thinking about sort of peaking for semifinals as opposed to peaking for the games? Sort of what's your game plan? What do you and Brett got cooking?
Yeah. So I'm in Miami for a little bit longer. I'm going to train with the Brute Squad down in Naples, I'll move there for a couple days, which will be, again, just more to learn, more experience. That'll be really fun. But yeah, then we're going to head home and get training. And yeah, it is going to be peak for semis. Like honestly, because Brett and I were both just like so happy. It felt like we have been working for like 6 years to finally get to do this, because we have never, it's just been every year. It's just been like, you try, like, I just haven't gotten this experience yet. So Brett has already gone home. But so the past couple of days, we've just been like being foolish and happy. We haven't even really talked yet a ton about like next like steps. I know he's written a ton of stuff down. I think he's filled out an entire journal, but we haven't even chatted super seriously about what's next, because we've both just been like, oh my God, like the light at the end of the tunnel, like it's here, like it's actually happening. So him and I have just been super happy the past couple of days. But once I get home, that's kind of when we'll lay out the plan going forward. But the one thing we do know is that it's like, it wasn't like any new weaknesses got exposed this weekend. The stuff that I am working on, I still need to work on. So that was kind of nice. It wasn't like all of a sudden it's like, crap, you suck at flipping a pig. Like you are really bad at that flip sled thing. Everything that we know we need to work on was reassured, and the stuff that we know we're good at was also reassured. So nothing new on that front.
Yeah, that's good. That sets you on a great path for sure. Well, we look forward to seeing you. I know that we've been following you for about a year and a half now. I heard that you got a lot of new followers on Instagram over the weekend. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Everybody was making a big deal about that. My agent was like going nuts about it, a little bit like ironically, and I was just like, oh my goodness, because I've never been like a big Instagram person. But yeah, that is actually, in all honesty, like it is beneficial when it comes to like having the sport as a career. Like it is a necessity in some sense. So that was really nice to finally get some like recognition. It was really cool. I did really appreciate that. And even the messages I got from people, like it was so sweet. Everybody was like, I was like bursting, like the messages I got about like the interview I did after, like even the picture of me smiling, like I was like, oh, like everybody was so sweet. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to sort of watching your career blossom, and you are so young and so talented that, we can't imagine that there's not going to be more to come for that. So we're excited to see your future. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll catch up with you again later.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.